3.
Hey guys, welcome to MUSC Red Devils NCR and as I have been telling you guys कि एक वीडियो हम बनाएंगे ग्लेजर्स के बारे में। ग्लेजर्स के साथ अब एक उनका सरनेम चलता है, साथ ही साथ ग्लेजर्स आउट। सो व्हाई देयर इज ग्लेजर्स आउट एंड पता है सबसे सबसे बुरी चीज क्या लगती है, व्हाट मेक्स यू सैड is not that we lost match, हम मैच हार गए, हम 4-0 से हारे, हम 5-0 से हारे। What makes you sad is when your opponents come up to you and tell कि यार अब ये ज्यादा हो रहा है, even we are feeling bad for you. That is the time that strikes कि यार this is the time कि अभी कुछ we need change. There has to be some changes, and what changes can be done? What are the changes that we need to do? There are so many things happening around the ecosystem of in Manchester United. पिच पे तो हम काफी खराब हैं, हम खराब थे। हमारा लास्ट सीजन वाज वन ऑफ आवर वर्स्ट सीजन। देन अभी इस सीजन करंट सीजन के दो मैचेस में रिजल्ट्स हैवंट बीन प्रेफरेबल। But it's not only down to the manager, it's not only down to the players, it starts from the top. It starts with ownership. What are the ambitions of our owners? What is the project that they have? Like you can look up to other clubs. You have Manchester City, you have PSG, you have Liverpool. You even now, even after the ownership change, you have Chelsea. These are the clubs that are, I can say, light years ahead of us. And there is a reason behind it. There is only one specific reason behind it is they have an owner who has a project in his mind, and his thinking, his thought process is based on football terms. वो हमारे यहाँ मिसिंग है। 600 मिलियन बिलियन पाउंड 600 मिलियन पाउंड लिए गए थे और उस पैसों को लगा के हमें खरीदा गया था, हमारे क्लब को खरीदा गया था। और आज दैट 600 मिलियन हैज गॉन अप टू 1.5 बिलियन। ये डेप्थ है हमारा। मनी हैज बीन, यू कैन से, sucked out of our club. Abhi we are the only club that is paying dividends to our owners. No other Premier League club is paying dividends to any of its owners. 19 क्लब नहीं करते हैं, एक क्लब करता है, वो है मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड। साला ट्रांसफर विंडो में मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि प्लेयर्स के रूमर्स आएंगे, एंड व्हाट हैपेंड, व्हाट न्यूज़ ब्रोक आउट is the amount of dividend that will be paid to Glazers. So there are things which need changes. There are things that we as fans need to talk about, and there are many few things which doesn't appease me as a United fan. यार हम रबियो के पीछे जा रहे थे, हम पता नहीं किसके किसके पीछे नहीं गए थे। Things have changed. We have signed Casemiro. We are linked with now 4-5 players, prolific players, good players, जिनकी cost are is high currently transfer market में. But yes, there needs to be some changes. And what I'd like to start with Karthik, what exactly is happening with Manchester United? If any बिना कोई भी आपसे फैन पूछे, who is not even a sports fan, and he comes up to and asks you कि क्या प्रॉब्लम क्या है, तुम इतने मैचेस हारते क्यों हो, हमेशा हार क्यों रहे हो, what is wrong with Manchester United?
See, I think even the like you said, किसी लेमन टर्म में तुम कैसे बताओगे किसी को कि यूनाइटेड के साथ क्या हो रहा है, बट फॉर्चुनेटली अनफॉर्चुनेटली तुम ये फुटबॉल फैंस को भी अगर मतलब बताने जाओगे कि हाँ यूनाइटेड के साथ ऐसा हो रहा है, मैनी ऑफ देम डोंट बिलीव इट, बिकॉज जो फिगर्स हैं कि हम लोगों ने 1 बिलियन स्पेंड कर दिया है ग्लेजर्स के ऊपर, हमारी टीम के ऊपर इन पास्ट 10 years सिंस सर एलेक्स हैज लेफ्ट, तो दैट फिगर हैज सेट अप ऑन देयर माइंड्स, राइट? उनके माइंड में बैठ गया कि यार ये तो स्पेंड कर रहे हैं, बस हग रहे हैं उसमें, मतलब दे आर जस्ट losing the matches, they're losing the titles, they're losing the finals. Even in the time of Ole, we've lost so many finals and semi-finals. There has been this wild euphoria that तुमने 1 बिलियन स्पेंड कर दिए लेकिन तुम अभी भी you're not sufficient. See, as fans, as a community, हम लोग जो हैं, we all know एक्चुअली में क्या हो रहा है ग्लेजर्स के साथ। जो एक्चुअल में ऊपर ओवर द टॉप जो लेयर्स आती हैं, जो स्टोरीज आती हैं, That is, everyone is aware of it. But what is actually, hurting our club is the ecosystem that has been built by Glazers around the club. है ना? Be it the journalists, be it our mouthpieces, be it our top reds, be it our top fans that are being employed by the club, be it the people who are working in the operations, be it the people who are working in a media team. There are layers and layers of people ecosystem that has enabled this juggernaut to, at some point, die down. And why that has happened is because these people, these journalists, these writers, these new age fans, these top-rates, they have monetized their work at the helm of our club. And that is the biggest debacle of this club. I'm not saying कि Glazers को हम लोग I'm see my point of this whole conversation was to हम जानते हैं Glazers क्या कर रहे हैं, but उनको enable कौन कर रहा है, and why are they just successful? Because of their PR, because of their spins, because of people they have employed in and around the club that are continuously speaking about कल को अभी Glazers out हो रहा है, everyone is behind it, the euphoria is अभी लेके जाओ, right? अभी जो कल तक एक साल पहले तक Glazers को ब्राउनी पॉइंट्स दे रहे थे, आज वो गालियां दे रहे हैं. वो एक साल बाद मैं बता रहा हूँ रोहित, एक साल बाद इफ थिंग्स अभी यहाँ पे हमने किसी तरह 4-5 साइनिंग कर ली and these people will reverse back and start talking great about Glazers again. तो जो हम सुनना चाहते हैं ना वो सुना के चले जाते हैं, and they really don't mean it, and that is the crux. My next हम लोग अभी और बात करेंगे, obviously I'm going to expand on it and we'll open the floor to everyone. So that is the crux of it. What Glazers have done around the club is employ people, deploy people that are going to, when they are falling out or when they are falling apart from the real fans and the fans who see it for what it is, वो उनको जाके enable करते हैं to keep on continuing the dirty work behind the doors. So that was my crux of it, and we'll talk more on it, open to everyone else.
Yeah, good point. Some good points made over there. And I'll jump to Mojo. What's your thought process? What do you think? What is happening around, and what needs to be changed?
Well, I guess everything needs to be changed. और वो इसलिए है because from a footballing perspective and from a club perspective, as an organization जो Manchester United है, when Sir Alex retired, we were amongst the top 5 clubs in the world. I don't think we rank amongst the top 15 right now. The point that was just made in terms of spending £1 billion, it was absolutely bang on. But the problem with that £1 billion is that आपने पैसे खर्च कर दिए, and then you employed idiots to take care of your money. और उस situation में आपके साथ there's only one thing that can happen, and that is a disaster. And disaster did happen. How can you explain the fact that in last 10 years you've sacked 4 or 5 managers if you were to include the interims, and we were made to believe कि एक new United होगा, that things are going to change and there's going to be a massive turnaround XYZ. But the first game against Brighton, you had De Gea in goal, who was signed by Sir Alex. You had Shaw, who was signed by Louis van Gaal. You had Maguire, who was signed by Ollie. So basically, and you had Fred and McTominay, who was signed by Mourinho. So if you think that in the last 4 or 5 years, last 10 years, the 4 or 5 managers that have been brought in have not been supported, the new manager, जिसके साथ एक नई start होने वाली थी, is still starting with a mishmash of players that were signed by previous managers.
Different
so you
managers,
just cannot
different profile player.
Sorry?
Different manager, players bought by different managers of different
Exactly.
profiles.
Exactly. So, and there comes a point कि ठीक है आपने पैसे खर्च करे, लेकिन क्या आपने पैसे खर्च करने के बाद किसी भी मैनेजर को इतना sufficient enough टाइम दिया कि वो अपनी टीम प्रॉपर बिल्ड कर सके? Every manager in the last 5 to 6 years, I mean, from Van Gaal days, I mean, forget David Moyes, has basically been given his B choice players. Mourinho asked for, certain sort of players. He wasn't given. 5 million ke piche, we let go of Perisic, who at that time was a decent enough a player. And then we sign Maguire at obnoxious rates. We sign Aaron Van Bissaka at stupid prices, and then all sorts of wages that we've handed out. It's just crazy. और उसका effect क्या हुआ है? I mean, it's anybody who's even doing a simple small size business would understand. You have money, you give it to the wrong people, and you're going to get screwed. And that's what's happened. We've had Ed Woodward and we've had Murtaugh and we've had whosoever now. They haven't got a clue about football, and we've let them handle the footballing side of the matters. Absolute hera-keri. And I honestly believe that this is the right time, primarily because पहले कौन buyers आ रहे थे, नहीं आ रहे थे, people were interested in buying, not interested in buying. और probably उस टाइम इतना फाइनेंशियल क्वेश्चन था कि ग्लेजर्स सऊदी के इंटरेस्ट को मना कर सकते थे. अब वो फाइनेंशियल क्वेश्चन नहीं है, और वो फाइनेंशियल क्वेश्चन इसलिए नहीं है कि आपके स्पॉन्सर्स अब आपसे एलियनेट होने लगे हैं. Team viewer has already come out and said that they're not interested in continuing as a prime sponsor. Adidas का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ये कहता है कि अगर आप 2 साल कंटिन्यूसली चैंपियंस लीग से बाहर रहोगे, they will not pay us 75 million. It will be cut down by 30 or 25%. So invariably next year, your 75 million from Adidas cuts down to about 60, 55 or 60 million. So there's going to be a so-called spiral down effect, wherein if two biggest sponsors of the club are pulling their hands aside and saying like, look, we're not really interested in being associated in the way you're running it, then I'm sure the associate sponsors will come on board as well. आज की तारीख में आप दोनों Chevrolet और Kohler को देख लो, the amount of negativity those two brands were getting because of the negativity which was surrounding United meant that both agreed कि भैया हमें principal sponsor नहीं रहना, हमें shirt पे नहीं रहना, हमें principal sponsor नहीं रहना, and both became associate sponsors. Yeah. So that is what's going to happen. Sponsors are now getting alienated. Fans are goddamn angry, and I really hope that this message of Glazer Out hits home, irrespective of whatever signings they throw at us.
Yes.
मतलब आप कैसेमेरो को ले आए, very good. See, as a fan, मेरे आज की तारीख में 2 sides हैं. एक side ये है कि sorry for the language, but फटी में अगर हमें कैसेमेरो, वैंडरबेक, एंटनी और एक राइट बैक और एक गोलकीपर और एक और मिडफील्डर मिल जाता है, क्योंकि ग्लेजर्स की आज फटी है. So that's a good fan side of me. Yeah, I welcome those signings because my team needs that. My club needs that. But the other side of the fan is like, fine, you got me those signings, but do you really think those signings are going to gel in from game 3 or game 4? They'll need 1 or 2 more games. So basically, in a season where fixtures are going to be all cramped up because of the World Cup till the World Cup is over, you have cost us probably 4 or 5 games, which could have been done all through the summer. So me as a fan, Glazers out 100% because you have absolutely fucked my club over the last 10 years. And as a fan, if you think you're going to woo me with good signings, please bring in the good signings, but still fuck your shit out of here. I don't want you here. So that is where I'm at.
Sure. And Delvin, I'll ask you. Sorry, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Karthik. I'll like to ask you, Delvin. Bloomberg reported that if an offer comes which suits the pocket, which is sufficient enough for Glazers, they are willing to sell. Then हमारे पास आए थे Sir Ratcliffe, and he came up. His spokesperson came up and clearly he told that yes, we have this. We are noticing it. We have this in our mind that if at all, even if a minority stakes are up there to be taken, we will take that with a longer view in which we can get a hold of the whole shares and we can kick the Glazers out. So, what exactly are the reports that have come up, and what is your take on these?
So before I start about the question that you put forward, there is a proverb currently suits the situation that Man United are currently in, both on the field and off the field. So it's clown moves into the palace. He isn't the king. The palace turns into a circus. That is exactly what Man United are on the field. Coming to the question that Bloomberg quoted, that if there is a suitable offer, the Glazers will sell. Yes, definitely, because that is exactly what the end game of the Glazers is. They're looking for a payday. And keep in mind, just a few months ago, Chelsea was sold, I think, double their market value. Chelsea
Yes.
at around 4.25 billion.
Yeah.
And Glazers will definitely be looking for more, because United is a much more prominent name in spite of our downfall. The commodities that United provide are much more rarefied if you compare to Chelsea because of our global fan base. Secondly, the reason Jim Ratcliffe's name's come into picture is that we as fans are so starved of proper competent football decisions that even a single basic thing that a well-run football club does, for us it's like, oh, this is madness, the good times are back, so on and so forth. There have been many instances of false dawns like this. Recent example itself is Casemiro, where everyone started praising Moto, saying that the Rabiot deal was a smokescreen, we always wanted Casemiro, so on and so forth. Everyone knows that wasn't the case at all.
No.
Another thing is that the do not care about the fans. They do know that Man United right now is the only asset that is keeping them afloat. The other team that they own, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL, isn't performing well, and it's only because of the money that's come out from United that they have managed to win a Super Bowl after being the basement boys of the NFL for so long. They have not been performing well in the NFL until Tom Brady came in there.
Exactly.
You speak to their fans as well. They do not have a lot of appreciative things to say about the Glazers as well. Another thing is that you see Todd Bowley, who's the new Chelsea owner. It's just been a couple of months for him taking over the club, yet he's been there for every match. He's been there for the home games. He was vociferously cheering on for his team while they were playing against Spurs. Stark contrast to us, the Glazers have barely attended 3 games in the last 3 years. They've barely had any conversation, any communication with fans until that ill-fated Super League breakaway. That is where the fan outrage was at its highest peak, not only but multiple clubs. But for us, the outrage was much more. It was tenfold because of the simmering discontent that has already been passed on throughout the years. There was a time where United was regarded as the pinnacle of global football institutions, not just because of the team that we put on the field, but our stadium, our infrastructure, and the way we conducted ourselves in global football. Fast forward, our stadium is a leaking mess. Spurs have taken over as one of the best stadiums in the country, and that's not Old Trafford anymore. Our training centers have been lacking to modern standards. Take City Football Academy, for example, or take Spurs, for example. They've gone leaps and bounds ahead of us. There is not enough infrastructure for that. And in spite of the talks coming out of the club that they are planning to do a rehaul, a reboot, I did not see anything concrete that has come out yet. It's just been words and empty promises like it's always been there. So all in all, it does not look good. It looks ominous for the Glazers in a bad way, that's for sure. And make no mistake, I am Glazers out. While Glazers do have almost the whole blame to take here, like Moses rightly pointed out, that you cannot let idiots run your football club. Even Severa openly pointed out that you are sending lawyers to discuss football-related concepts to potential players that you're trying to sign. This has been a long-standing issue. A lot of players want to know what the sporting project is, but the people who are there are discussing financial terms and what is your non-sporting incentive or anything that you will be stated to earn financially. There is no
whoever our negotiators are, they are not able to
Yes.
articulate Manchester United in front of the players.
Precisely.
Yes.
And even the people that we have appointed now, who are expected to be football people, do not seem to grasp the concept of how negotiations work. Uh,
Yes.
Dragging their heels around, and if those people think that buying a few fans, couple of pints of beer is going to work, I'm sorry to say, but that doesn't work. You don't have the juice to pacify us fans. Our anger has been simmering throughout the years. Like Mojo sir, like Karthik rightly said, a few good signings, while is a welcome sight for sore eyes for a sporting perspective, on the long term scale it does not. And
Yes.
coming back, Cliff, he's one of the richest men, if not the richest man in England. He already owns a football club in France, that's Nice, and he has a couple of football clubs. He has another football club that he owns in the Swiss league. I do not know what the name is, but he has another football club that he owns in Switzerland. His company, Ineos, has been one of the most highest performing companies in terms of, he has a sports apparel brand, and he apparently was a United fan when he was a child. So it makes
Yes.
sense. We do need someone who does not take money out of the club and puts money in. If I think most of us know that there is an anti-glazer clause that is around the ownership circles right now. So anyone who wants to buy a football, there is a clause that states you cannot take money out of the club. So yeah, that's the lasting legacy of the Glazers on the Premier League and on United. So why I totally believe that Glazers should be out. I think this is the right time for them. They themselves know that I don't think there is going to be a much better opportunity for them to get the payday that they want. The time is right. Our revenue has been flatlining over the last 5 to 6 years from commercials as well. Like Mojo sir said, sponsors are stepping back. The associate sponsors don't want to shell out much more money to be associated with mediocrity. They need results as well as stakeholders of the club. So yes, I certainly think that the time is now, and I think the fans should not divert themselves to the fact that yes, signings are being made.
Yes.
Always been the case that we always fall prey to the spin. Whenever there is something good, even an iota of goodness that's happening, we just turn around. But I think this is not the time for turning around. We need to be in the same intensity and get these parasites out of our club. That's all I want to say.
And I'll ask Dhruv. Dhruv, now is the time. Everybody has said that now is the time. If you want to sell this club, now is the time. If you want new owners, now is the time. For anyone who wants to buy Manchester United, according to you, what is the money that he needs to spend? What is the money with
So
which Glazers will be happy?
so there's this point कि अभी बोला गया कि Chelsea was sold for almost double. But let me tell you something. Being from this field, I have my friends at Goldman Sachs and everywhere. So उन्होंने ये बोला कि already proposals आ रहे हैं. But what you guys are thinking, it won't happen क्योंकि अगर एक favorable proposal भी आ जाता है, Glazers will send because it's very fucked up, जो कि public info नहीं है. It's very fucked up inside. So double की तो बात है ही नहीं. When people are looking at the proposal, their analysts are looking at the proposal, Manchester United is not a good investment at all right now. तुम कुछ भी कह लो, तुम्हारे पास तुम्हारा बेस है, कुछ भी है, but it's not a good investment. तुम्हारे fans all over the world है, one of the biggest clubs है, but again negative publicity इतनी है. अब point ये कि Glazers as an owners, Glazers out, okay, पर वो business करने आए थे, ये सब लोग जानते थे, ठीक है. उन्होंने बिजनेस किया, बट वो लोगों का बिजनेस गलत हुआ कि उन लोगों ने अपना, जैसे मोजू सर ने बोला, फुटबॉलिंग पावर जो थी वो लोग भी इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग को दी थी. इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स तुम्हारे अगर फुटबॉलिंग डिसीजन लेंगे तो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे कुछ नहीं होना. यही अगर वो लोग, क्योंकि ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग ग्लेजर ने पैसा तो डाला है क्लब ट्रांसफर्स के लिए. ओवर 1 बिलियन वी हैव स्पेंट इन लास्ट 10 years, ठीक है. तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हमने पैसा नहीं डाला है. पॉइंट है कि वो गलत साइनिंग्स पे, या फिर वो वाली बात है कि एक अमरूद $5 का है, हम उसको 15 का लेंगे क्योंकि हम मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड है, तो वो वाली है. अगर जैसे मगवायर की साइनिंग को ही लेते हैं, हैरी मगवायर 80 million wasn't worth it. You could have gone for any defender in the world which could have been less. ठीक है, अब तुम वही कर रहे हो क्योंकि अब तुम्हें ज्यादा प्राइस का अगर कोई कोट कर रहा है, यू आर लुकिंग एट ऑल्टरनेटिव, बट बैक देन यू डिडंट लुक फॉर ऑल्टरनेटिव एट ऑल. ठीक है, सो इट्स बीन कमिंग. तो एक टाइम के बाद अगर तुम ग्लेजर्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी देखो, 2016 से लेकर 20 के बीच में इतना पैसा दिया गया क्लब के लिए. दे गेव लुई वैन गाल डिसेंट अमाउंट ऑफ बजट. उतना बढ़िया परफॉर्मेंस नहीं हुई क्योंकि प्लेयर्स वर फिलोसफी वाला पूरा सीन हो गया था. होजे मोरिन्यो को उन्होंने एक साल में मतलब इमीडिएटली स्टार्टिंग में इसलिए बैक नहीं किया गया उसे कि वही वाला सीन है कि ऑलरेडी दे हैव पुट इन सो मच मनी, सो दे नीड टू बी श्योर कि ये मैनेजर फिट है टीम के लिए, तभी उसको बैक किया जाए. ओले के साथ सेम सीन हुआ. ओले को पहले टेस्ट किया गया कि क्या ये सही है मैनेजर इसको बैक करने के लिए. अब एरिक टेन हाग के साथ हो रहा है. तो जब जब न्यू मैनेजर्स आ रहे हैं वो इंस्टेंटली उसे बैक नहीं कर रहे हैं, एक साल देते हैं कि एक्चुअली इसमें पोटेंशियल है भी इस टीम को चलाने का या नहीं है, तो ही बैक किया जाए. क्योंकि सेम थिंग टॉटनहम ने करी. दे बॉट इन नूनो, डिडंट गिव हिम हिज प्लेयर्स और वो नहीं चल पाया. They bought in Conte with the same players, he did a decent performance, now they are backing him up. So usually investors अब ऐसे सोचते हैं, owners अब ऐसे सोचते हैं कि मैनेजर में उतनी capability है या नहीं, and that is because of number of choices. क्योंकि एक तो ये बहुत आजकल नया ट्रेंड आ गया है कि प्रीवियस लेजेंड्स को मैनेजर बना के हर जगह भेज दिया जाता है बिना एक्सपीरियंस के, और फिर वो पूरा गेम फकअप करा के आ जाते हैं. मैं ओली की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, जैसे नेवेल हो गया, अभी रूनी भी ज्यादा, मतलब रूनी बहुत ज्यादा बोल रहा है यूनाइटेड के बारे में, हर चीज पे कमेंट हो रहा है. एज अ लेजेंड इट्स ओके, बट you are also managing a team and you want to manage United in the future, but you have to have a decent CV for that, because looking at Lampard, he's shit. तुम कुछ भी कह लो, उसने Chelsea, he got the signings, he got the backings, but he couldn't do what Tuchel is doing. Same at Everton. तो Glazers भी वहीं पे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू पे पैसे पर आता है, बट अगेन Glazers ने वो फुटबॉलिंग ब्रेन कभी रखा ही नहीं, तो वो जितनी भी उनकी इन्वेस्टमेंट आई वो सब वेस्ट होती गई. तो अब एक टाइम ग्लेजर्स का ये आ चुका है कि वो कितना पैसा और डाल सकते हैं इस क्लब में, बिकॉज हर तरफ से उन्हें तो हिट मिल रहा है कि तुम पैसे नहीं डाल रहे. तुम्हारे पॉइंट है कि वो फुटबॉलिंग डिसीजन पिछले 10 साल के इतने गलत हैं कि अब हम इतनी डेट में हैं, हमारे प्लेयर की वेजेस ऑल टाइम हाई पर है कि 1 या 2 साल में कुछ नहीं हो सकता. अगर ग्लेजर्स भी पूरा रिवैम्प करेंगे इस चीज को, एटलीस्ट 3 से 4 साल लग जाएंगे. तो उससे बढ़िया है कि डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट कर देनी चाहिए, बट डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए भी एक बढ़िया कोई होना चाहिए तुम्हारे पास कि पोटेंशियल क्लाइंट. और अब पोटेंशियल क्लाइंट है न्यूकासल का जो अब करंट ओनर है, ही वांटेड टू बाय यूनाइटेड. दैट वुड हैव बीन, अब वो कहने वाली बात है हम भी ऑयल क्लब बन जाते, बट ऑनेस्टली आई वुडंट माइंड कि इस टाइम पे, क्योंकि अब फुटबॉल पैसे से ही चलने वाला है अगले 20 साल. जिसके पास पैसा है वो आगे जंप करने ही वाला है. सो देयर इज नो पॉइंट ऑफ सेइंग कि हम लोग अभी भी उसी फिलोसफी में जाएंगे, क्योंकि इट्स टाइम टू चेंज एज द वर्ल्ड इज चेंजिंग. तो जितनी फास्ट पेस पे वो लोग चेंज हो रहे हैं, उतना यूनाइटेड को भी होना पड़ेगा. हर वक्त तुम अगर लेगेसी के पीछे भागोगे कि हम लोग ऐसे हैं जो हम यूथ को प्रमोट करेंगे हम, तो वो नहीं चल रहा है, क्योंकि फैंस वांट ए ट्रॉफी. 5 साल हो गए भाई, नहीं मिल रही है. क्रिस्टियानो रोनाल्डो कमिंग बैक टू यूनाइटेड वाज अ प्योर बिजनेस साइनिंग. कुछ तुक नहीं था, कुछ प्लान्स में नहीं था, टोटल फकअप हो गया पूरे सीन का. बट अगेन वो उनका बिजनेस इतना बुरी तरीके से चलाया गया है, जो कि जिन इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स को उन्होंने हाथ में दिया था, कि ना तो वो कहीं के रहा है ना ये क्लब कहीं का रहा है. तो वो जो बीच में पार्टी थी वो पूरी गलत थी. तो अब ग्लेजर्स तो आउट होंगे, बिकॉज उन लोगों चॉइस तो उनकी थी ना कि उनको किसको हाथ में देना है वो. So they made their recruitment wrong and then they recruited players for United which were obviously very wrong. So it's all fucked up. पूरी तरीके से 100% गलती मैं उनकी नहीं कहूंगा, क्योंकि उन्होंने पैसा डाला है मेरे हिसाब से, ठीक है, कि इतना पैसा डाला है, बट 99% गलती सिर्फ उनकी थी. तो दे शुड बी आउट एनीवे. और अगर इस टाइम पे कोई भी डिसेंट ऑफर आता है अराउंड 2.5 बिलियन, दे शुड जस्ट सेल. बट आई डोंट थिंक कोई इतना पैसा इस टाइम पे यूनाइटेड में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहेगा, स्पेशली वंस आफ्टर जो भाई ने भी बोला एंटी ग्लेजर्स क्लॉज आ गया कि अब तुम क्लब से पैसा नहीं निकाल सकते. तो 2.5 बिलियन कोई डाले 2.5 बिलियन और वो पैसा निकाल भी नहीं सकता क्लब से, तो फिर कोई पॉइंट ही नहीं है ना, अनलेस यू आर इलॉन मस्क एंड यू रियली वांट टू बाय मैन यूनाइटेड.
इट्स वेरी इजी टू से कि 2.5 बिलियन दे दो और खरीद लो. जो भी बंदा 2.5 बिलियन लगाएगा ना, उसको ये भी पता होगा कि अनदर 1.5 बिलियन है जो कि डेप्ट में है. तो 2.5 + 1.5 तो 4 बिलियन तो यही हो गया, प्लस स्टेडियम रिवैम्प करना है, ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स रिवैम्प करना है, एवरीथिंग नीड्स चेंज। तो ये टोटल तो यार 6-6.5 बिलियन चला
लेकिन
जाएगा।
भैया इन्वेस्टमेंट के रूप में तो नहीं है ना ये। दिस इज ऑल क्लब्स मनी दैट दे हैव पुट इन। इट जस्ट द मनी दैट क्लब हैज जनरेटेड, वही तो यूज किया जा रहा है एज ए इन्वेस्टमेंट। ग्लेजर्स हैव नॉट डन एनीथिंग फॉर द क्लब। लेट्स गेट दिस क्लियर विद इन्वेस्टमेंट के रूप में कुछ नहीं आया है। एंड सेकेंडली, with the managers, see, one thing has to be clear that after LVG debacle, जब भी जो भी मैनेजर्स आए हैं, which is होजे एंड ओले, होजे और ओले को फर्स्ट विंडो में बैक किया ही गया था because they messed up with LVG and people saw it. So hence, because of that, होजे फर्स्ट प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में आके बोला, I have given a list of 5 players and I've told them कि ये पर्सनैलिटीज चाहिए है, एंड दे डिलीवर्ड इट। अब उसके बाद इतना डिलीवर किया उन्होंने, और उसके बाद दे वेंट हर अकेली। दिस हैज बीन अ ट्रेंड, it has been going on. वो मैं I wanted to add, like I said before after listening to my peers, like I was saying, how it started with, I mean, the ecosystem around Glazers has worked so well. जैसा मैंने कहा कि इतने सारे लोग जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं, इनके फैंस हैं, और टॉप फैंस हैं, टॉप रेड्स हैं, एंड पीपल दे एम्प्लॉय इन MUTV, they are there to monetize the club just like Glazers have, right? अभी सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल आप देख लो कि जब हम लोग का पहला प्री सीजन गेम हुआ था, पहला प्री सीजन गेम होते ही वी वेंट क्रेजी दैट उसमें आई थिंक ध्रुव भी गया है उस गेम में, लिवरपूल का मैच था, एंड वी थ्रैश्ड देम, and we basically thrashed their under 12, under 14, under 16 teams, right? And cut to the first game, Brighton का game हुआ 14 तारीख को, and everything, there was a contrast, huge contrast in the gameplay. And if you can go from one extreme to another in such a short space of time with no real change in the club, you aren't being honest with your coverage at all, right? ये जो जर्नलिस्ट जो बोल रहे हैं कि, let me take an example, लखस्ट है, लॉरी है, मिटन है, right? जेबी जैक्सन, even the most modern writers, कार्ल लांका, right? जिसके हम लोग एथलेटिक्स के हम लोग वो यूज करते हैं, क्या कहते हैं उनके, उसके वो आर्टिकल्स आते हैं, we use that for analysis and our discussion and debate on the group. Even that guy is writing books for Rashford. All those books written by Rashford was written by Karl Anka. So when a journalist only wants to write about one club, it creates a huge conflict of interest, and it's absolutely at their work. मतलब वो काम कर रहा है, you can see it, है ना? If journalist has to cover one club, he has to keep the club happy, to keep himself, अब वो अगर ब्लेजर्स के बारे में बढ़ाई करेगा, उनके बारे में PR करेगा, तो obviously he'll get to enter the boardroom, he'll get to enter the to the rooms where nobody else can go, not even a single fan, normal fan जा ही नहीं सकते, and वो उनके बारे में टॉक्सिक पॉजिटिव चीजें लिखेगा, प्रोपेगेंडा लिखेगा, and that has been going on for a long time, right? Another Twitter handles like Muppeteers, United District, United Report, right? They work like club employees. 24/7 they work like club employees. There's no objectivity. There's literally no objectivity. जो मेन कल्प्रिट्स हैं वो मीनिंगलेस स्टैट्स लेकर आ जाएंगे। 5 साल का सबसे बड़ा स्टैट है कि हम लोगों के पास ट्रॉफी नहीं है, सिंपल। बट ये स्टैट्स क्या लेकर आएंगे? ये स्टैट्स लेकर आएंगे कि एक टाइम पे रैशफोर्ड में 20 गोल मार दिए, मार्शल ने कभी 20 गोल मार दिए, लास्ट सीजन ऐसा हुआ था। लास्ट सीजन इज लास्ट सीजन, राइट? नोबडी इज लुकिंग बैक. Do you think Pep is looking back and saying कि मैं इतना जीता था, so I deserve to be here for 10 more years? No, nobody is having that conversation, right? So United Report हो गया, United District हो गया, Muppeteers हो गए, 24/7 are dwelling on those conversations, and these conversations are then boiled down to our fans. हम लोग वो रोज देखते हैं अपने ग्रुप में, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में, यू सी इट एवरी डे कि लास्ट ईयर वी फिनिश्ड थर्ड, वी फिनिश्ड सेकंड, एंड हेंस वी शुड कंटिन्यू टू ट्रस्ट दीज पीपल who are actually making a mockery of us. अब लास्ट सीजन एक पूरा पूरा चला गया, it washed away, it has gone, but people are not ready to move on from that conversation. And now moving on to next few of people, like जैसे Goldbridge है, even I listen to Goldbridge, I listen to Terry Flewers, I listen to United People's TV. ये सब सुनना पड़ता है to to actually see through what's actually happening. These people, like I said, अभी Goldbridge कितने जोर जोर से बोल रहा है, Glazers have to fuck off, Glazers have to fuck off, दिन रात ट्वीट कर रहा है, दिन रात लगा पड़ा है. But where was he when Ole was doing all of this? He wasn't there. He wasn't there, questioning Ole. He wasn't. अब वो आज because we want to hear that, because we want to hear Glazers out, he's out there, मतलब चिल्ला रहा है, गला फाड़ फाड़ के चिल्ला रहा है, 24 घंटे ट्वीट कर रहा है ना? And then he will at one point he will go back to justifying Glazer money saving exercises as well. तो ये जो दो कॉन्ट्रास्ट है कि हम लोग हमारे साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं फैंस के साथ. He'll tell you one thing एक महीने पहले, they'll tell you another thing एक महीने बाद, right? So these are the types of puppets that need to be shelled out with Glazers as well. And then we haven't even spoken about Adam McCullough, Jay Morty, Stratford Paddock. ये सब insiders हैं, ये सब insiders हैं. They are on payroll. और वो आके जाके इतने बड़े-बड़े पॉडकास्ट बनाते हैं, जाके इतने बड़े-बड़े अकाउंट चलाते हैं, आर्टिकल्स लिख रहे हैं, इतनी कांस्टेंट टॉक्सिक पॉजिटिविटी भेज रहे हैं. डेलोट को अभी डेलो दिख गया हम लोगों की, डेलो इज स्ट्रगलिंग, राइट? We all know that Dello is struggling. But what is Adam McCullough is doing is he's parading on Dello. He's parading his interviews. He's telling everyone that he's the one who's working for, working in this system. While he's not. He's clearly not working in the system. ETH के system में Dello नहीं चल रहा है. But उसको hype क्यों कर रहे हैं? Because the guy has suffered. Because the guy went on 2 loans. Because the guy came back and ये हुआ बना दिया कि बेचारा मेहनत करके गया, इसको वापस बुलाया. Imagine what he's going to do. He'll become this inverted fullback out of nowhere, right? In ATH system, and Dallo has to be protected. Dallo has to be given a chance. Why Dallo has to be given a chance? जब विसाका को हम लोग 50 मिलियन की गालियां दे सकते हैं, why can't we talk shit about Dallo when he's not delivering, right? And then we have people like Malaysians. Like उनका बंदा ऑनलाइन बैठकर at one similar trait है गोल्डब्रिज की तरह. एक दिन बोलेगा कि the Glazers have spent so much money, the Glazers have put in so much money, the Glazers have given Ole the chance, the Glazers gave Jose the chance, the Glazers gave Ragnik a chance, they all failed him. एक दिन वो ये बोलेगा, अगले दिन आके वो you will find leaks from him. He's talking to people, talking to fans, real fans on WhatsApp, on Facebook. He's talking to fans that he will expose Glazers. बाहर तो तुम बकवास कर रहे हो, बाहर तो तुम उनको सपोर्ट कर रहे हो, और तुम फैंस को अंदर लाके बोलो कि तुम इनकी मेरे को लीक्स लाके दो, इनके जो एनालिसिस वगैरह है तुम्हारे अंदर वो लाके दो, वो मैं आके इनको एक्सपोज करूंगा. ये बात चल रही है ओले के टाइम से, है ना? ओले एक्सपोज जब हो रहा था, जब उसका बूबा कमारा का उसका जो रेप का सीन बाहर आया था, he was getting exposed and fans were exposing Ole as well, and he said I will expose Ole, but by the time this all happened, he got a payroll from inside. वो अंदर उसकी बात बन गई and he stopped doing that. Who promised us that we'll stand for you with a platform and we'll talk for you, and then they don't do that, and using that platform and telling them that ये मेरे पास इतना chunk of information है about you and I'm ready to protect you instead of exposing you. What are Glazers going to do? Pay him, and that's what they did. And they all सब चुप. There is literally nothing. And अभी क्या होगा literally, ये अभी 4-5 साइनिंग अगर किसी तरह इन लोगों ने कर दी, make no mistake, this narrative will spin out of control, वापस घूम जाएगा. It has happened in past. ये होसे के साथ भी हुआ, ये ओले के साथ भी हुआ, ये LVG के साथ भी हुआ. LVG left on the day he won FA Cup. How fucking bizarre is that? And he's the only one.
I think थोड़ा network issue हो रहा है. Anxiety भाई move on करते हैं.
17 people. So these are the kind of conversations, these are the kind of things that are happening. And then we have to add the biggest of the biggest puppets, Ferdinand, Gary Neville, ex-players, and lots of other, varying importance की जो huge conflict of interest बन जाता है ना कि एक time पे तुम बोल रहे हो कि the fans are tired, and then Ole के time पे you were working for Glazers, you've been telling the Glazers that Glazers have put in money, Ole was the right signing, give him the biggest contract, bring the statue, you've said all of this on the camera, and how can you turn it around within 6 months? 6 महीने के अंदर क्या बदल गया? जब अगर इतना बड़ा भारी वो तुमने ओले ने इतना रिवैम्प कर दिया था, कल्चर रिसेट हो रहा था, 6 महीने में ये कल्चर रिसेट ऐसे कैसे मतलब टम्बल डाउन हो गया? सो नो, आई एम नो.
I think we lost.
Need to be kicked the fuck out. I'm done. My bad. I ranted a lot.
See, everything is messed up. Nobody can have control on their emotions. वो जब it is a thing which is within us, वो हमारे अंदर रह रही है, हम दिन भर रात भर के बारे में सोचते हैं, so it eventually has to come out. And in the same way, Glazers have to go out. There is no other way in which I could think that we can be a good football club, we can have a good footballing project. Till the time Glazers are there, I don't see anything happening, anything good, anything positive happening. I cannot imagine it. And that's where I'm 100% Glazers out. I don't even, you can bring, मैंने last video में बोला था कि तुम पूरी World Cup team उठा के ले आओगे, उसके बाद भी मैं बोलूंगा Glazers out. I don't see players लाके दो ठीक है, I don't care कितने पैसे लग रहे हैं, I don't care. But yes, it has to be Glazers out. And anyone who has that senses, anyone who has that common sense can say it and will literally realize it that Glazers out has to be there. They need to sell this club. And last May, just to wind up, anything that Mojo sir would like to add, anything आप कुछ बोलना चाहोगे?
No, I guess Dhruv and everybody has pretty much said the actual reality of the situation. Dhruv की एक बात interesting थी कि the value at which we might be bought is going to be a risky proposition for whoever buys us, because Glazers will not sell at anywhere near 4 billion. They'll probably be looking at more than that. और अगर आप 4 billion में club बेच रहे हो, and then your point was absolutely right कि उस 4 billion के बाद you need another 1.5 billion. Why? Because you need to upgrade Old Trafford. You need to basically get in a completely new team. And then the facilities around Old Trafford and or Carrington are outdated. We haven't even started talking about the women's game at Manchester United, so that side of the business is totally ignored. So yeah, you're looking, and anybody who buys United is looking at an investment of close to 6 billion at the least.
6 to 7, 6 at least 6 and maximum 7 at least.
Yeah.
6
so
to 7.
I would just say this: अगर कोई 6 to 7 billion डालने वाला कोई बंदा है भी उधर, who can buy this club of Glazers and then help improve the club facilities, the team, the women's side of football and everything, I'm okay if that person actually has a proper footballing project. आपका proper footballing project है, आपने पैसा लगाया है और आप उस पैसे का return चाहते हो, तो I would respect you for that. You're a businessman. You put in the money, you would want the return, which is fine. And there was a very good article I read. I'm forgetting where I read it. That the Liverpool as a club are lucky that they have Klopp as a manager and their team are doing well on the pitch, because their owners are no far better off than what the Glazers are doing to United. हमारे
Yes.
इतना बुरा इसलिए लग रहा है because for the last 10 years we've won sod all. Our team has constantly become worse. And interesting thing is, when they listed us on the New York Exchange, they raised about 2.5 or $3 billion. वो सारा पैसा उन्हीं के पास है. They have not put a single rupee into the club.
Yes.
United as a club, with the signings they are making, the likes of Malasia and the likes of whosoever, are made from whatever money is left in our bank as a proper cash flow available. बाकी 2.3, 2.5 या $3 billion जो उन्होंने शेयर्स के रेज करे थे वो सारा उन्हीं के पास पड़ा है और वो उस पे भी इंटरेस्ट कमा रहे होंगे यूएस में, चाहे वो 2% हो या 2.5% हो, जितना भी हो. So all I'm saying is, a capable enough a guy takes the club of the Glazers, puts in the additional 1 or 1.5 billion pounds for the improvement of all the facilities and the teams. और फिर वो कहता है कि भाई ठीक है, देखो मैंने इतना पैसा डाला है, Glazers are out, we as a club are improving, we are ठीक है, even if it's Carabao Cup or FA Cup to start winning trophies, हम उस process में आ जाते हैं. I'm okay with the guy saying, look, I need to withdraw 10 million or 20 million a year. भाई पैसा डाला है तुमने, चीजें इंप्रूव करी हैं, ट्रॉफीज आ रही हैं, ठीक है, तुम्हें थोड़ा पैसा निकालना है अपना, जरूर निकालो, कोई भी बिजनेसमैन निकालेगा. बट दीज जोकर्स नीड टू बी थ्रोन आउट मैन. आई मीन ऊपर से नीचे तक इतना मेजर पैरासाइट कल्चर हो गया है that everybody is just here for the money. There is no commitment, there is no loyalty, there is no cause for the badge. सब बस पैसे के लिए काम कर रहे हैं. And I mean the last straw is that I mean छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल है, लाइक अ गाय लाइक ब्रैंडन विलियम्स भी नहीं बेच पा रहे हो आप, जो कि आपका एकेडमी प्लेयर है, उसको साले को 15 मिलियन में भी बेच दोगे, 10 मिलियन में भी बेच दोगे, तो अभी तुम प्रॉफिट कमाओगे. आप वो भी नहीं फुटबॉलिंग डिसीजंस ले पा रहे हो. सो व्हाट यू आर हियर फॉर? यू जस्ट इट्स जस्ट अ मेस. दे नीड टू गो एंड दिस इज द राइट
आप
टाइम.
बेचोगे, आप जेम्स गार्नर को बेचोगे उस पोजीशन के लिए जो आप 10 साल से ला नहीं पाए हो.
एग्जैक्टली, दैट्स अनदर हेराकीरी. मतलब आपके पास डिफेंडर्स पैक्ड हैं टीम में, बट आप फिर भी उस पोजीशन का प्लेयर बेचने जा रहे हो जिस पोजीशन के लिए पिछले आप 10-12 साल से आपके पास कोई प्लेयर ही नहीं है. And I guess the time is right. Dhruv rightly said it, that whatever they find the value as of now will be probably at its max, because God forbid if global inflation was to continue getting worse and the American bank was to increase the rates, then Glazers have had it further. So yeah, I mean this is the right time. I mean we are still relevant to a certain extent. We are playing Europa. Desperation में आके 4-5 signings हो जाएंगे, which might see us finish at a decent position in the league, but that is not taking away from the fact that we fucked the time. I mean, why just the last 10 years? We fucked up while even Sir Alex was here. Do you really think Sir Alex would sign anybody like a Smalling or a Jones if the club was awash with its own cash? No, he won't. So I mean, they need to go. They absolutely need to go. There is no if and buts about it.
गार्नर को भी इसीलिए बेच रहे हैं, so that they can add money to the kitty to give it to ETH for bigger lad. And Garner obviously जितनी बात बोल लो, Garner is 5th, 6th, 7th choice midfielder. He's not going to enter the starting lineup sooner. I
honestly believe they will not sell Garner now, because जिस तरह those two jokers that we were linked with, Arnautovic and Rabiot, उनका जो social media पे backlash हुआ था, and then they walked away from those signings. I'm sure these jokers analyze everything on social media, and they would have seen that there's such a backlash and support for Garner not being sold. I don't think they're going to bloody bother selling Garner right now. They're getting bollocks from everywhere. Not that they are not.
Even fan outrage stopped them to have that leverage buyout with Apollo.
Right. Yes.
Yes, there was a talk about Apollo getting a stake of around 200-300 million, which would generate flow for signings. So I think there was a massive fan backlash for that as well, and we've stopped that from happening. Because Apollo has links to Epstein.
Right. Now this protest on the Liverpool game, this needs to happen, man. This needs to be something serious. Totally. This needs to shake the Glazers from their roots, so to speak.
101%. Plus the point is Klopp is asking for free 3 points. वो अगर हम गेम खेलेंगे भी तो हम वैसे ही दे देंगे. तो बेटर है कि पूरा स्टेडियम खाली रहे, गेम ही ना हो, ले जाओ 3
But
पॉइंट।
that is only if the pitch invasion happens, right? If the protest is happening outside the stadium, I don't see any reason why the game should not go on.
और
But ये
don't let the Liverpool team get to Old Trafford, man. जब protest ऐसे करो साले पहुंच ही ना पाए.
हाँ, पत्थरबाजी कर दो भाई.
Let them have the 3 points.
No.
Seriously, I am now at a point where, you know, hook and crook. जैसे कहते हैं ना, उंगली टेढ़ी करनी पड़े, जो भी करना
देखो,
पड़े, just get these guys out, man.
अभी तक वो चल रहा था कि हम इंडिपेंडेंस नॉन वायलेंस तरीके से लेंगे, अब टाइम आ गया है कि वो पेशेंस खत्म हो गई है, तो अब फर्क नहीं पड़ता है क्या हो रहा है क्या, और टीम कौन सा तुम्हारे लिए परफॉर्म कर रही है. तुम मैकफ्रेड को देखो, कोई फायदा नहीं है, ठीक है, उससे बेहतर है तुम मत देखो, तुम बस को वापस जाते हुए देखो.
पिछले लिवरपूल गेम में ये हो जाना चाहिए था. पिछले लिवरपूल गेम में वो ओले आके ना थोड़ा सबड्यू कर दिया. पिछले ही लिवरपूल गेम में अगर थोड़ा ताड़ी हो जाती अच्छे से, अगर बजा देते इन लोगों को, तो थिंग्स वुड हैव मूव्ड. अभी कुछ और ही हो रहा होता.
The point here is, could this be a bigger points deduction, keeping in mind that this is the second time that it is going to happen. The first time that it happened, it was during lockdown, so there was not a lot of harakiri happening, and the game was rescheduled. But keeping in mind that now the protest will happen with fans in attendance, and there could be a genuine threat of physical harm happening to people who are protesting, or people who will be in charge to curb the intensity of the protest. Will this mean that we could have a further points deduction? And that's not just 3 points, that could be more than 3 points.
I mean, look, honestly, I don't mind finishing 7th, 8th, or 9th, or whatever, but as far as we get these Glazers out, man. Just get these jokers out. It's now coming to a point where, यार मैं seriously बता रहा हूँ यार, एक छोटा सा कोई कैंटीन चलाने वाला भी होगा ना किसी कॉर्नर में दुनिया में, वो भी अपने धंधे को उस तरह नहीं चला रहा होगा जिस तरह इन लोगों ने चलाया पिछले 12 सालों से. So
6th 7th तो उम्मीद ही नहीं है मेरे को. अगर तुम कैसीमीरो, फ्रैंकी दे जोंग, एंथनी तीनों साइन करते हो तो मैं कह रहा हूँ हम टॉप 6 आएंगे. अभी इनका यही हाल होगा जैसे ओजे का था, ये 6th आ रहे होंगे, ये यूरोपा पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट करेंगे कि किसी तरह चैंपियंस लीग पहुंच जाए, क्योंकि ये टॉप 4 में नहीं आ सकती टीम. आप कुछ भी ले लो, जितने प्लेयर, अगर ये नए प्लेयर ले भी आएंगे तो उनको जेल करने में टाइम लगेगा. तो ये तो गया, क्योंकि पहले 3 गेम तुम डाउन, एकदम बॉटम हिल लग चुके हैं हर तरफ.
And I don't think Europa is going to be easy. Look at Arsenal. Arsenal look favorites for the Europa right now.
There's Roma also.
Yeah, there's Roma as well. Yeah.
Yes.
But
and plus,
by
there
that time when we,
there will be clubs who come from Champions League as well.
Yeah, but that time when we face them, I still feel कि इस टीम में उतना पोटेंशियल है, और टेन हैग को टाइम हो जाएगा अगर उसको 5 साइनिंग मिल जाती है कि वो कुछ तो कर देगा, कि इज्जत बच जाएगी. तब भी ट्रॉफी का तो पता नहीं आ रही है या नहीं आ रही, मतलब कुछ तो हो जाएगा.
एंड अब ये आई थिंक आपको पता होगा या नहीं, बट यूरोपा में रूल्स चेंज हो गए. Only the teams who finish first are guaranteed direct qualification into the next round. Teams who finish
second plays against
playoff with the teams who come down from Champions League, and the teams who finish third go to the Conference League.
But वो basically rule changes का ऐसा भी नहीं है, because round of 32 हटा दिया है उन्होंने, बस वो क्वालिफाइंग राउंड कर दिया है उसको, तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
और थर्ड टीम कॉन्फ्रेंस आएगी तो.
अरे कोई नहीं, हम लोग देखना ना, भी कजाकिस्तान की टीम मिलेगी वहां जाके, अवे गेम खेलेंगे वहां पे, दया 1-0 डाउन करवा देगा, फिर वही चलेगा, वही रातें वैसी, कुछ भी हो जाएगी, नहीं चेंज होने वाला है 1 साल. तो मतलब अभी 2 दिन पहले, अभी जब हम लोग हारे तो अगले दिन मैंने कोई स्टोरी डाली थी, उस पर किसी का मैसेज आया, हाउ डू यू कोप अप विद दिस, ठीक है, 4-0 लॉस के बाद. मैंने कहा मेरे लिए नॉर्मल है, तुम्हें दुख हो रहा है, हम लोग के लिए नॉर्मल हो चुका है. अब हार रहे हैं. मैंने और एंग्जाइटी भाई ने तो 22 पेनल्टी के बाद से उम्मीद छोड़ दी थी, उससे बुरा कुछ नहीं हो सकता था इस क्लब के लिए. तो अब तो ठीक है, अब जो हो रहा है भाई, अब जितना टाइम लगेगा.
Anyways, चलो कोई नहीं. It was good talking about this, and Glazers Out has to be there. It is going on and it needs to go on and it has to be continued. Liverpool match है, उससे पहले there has to be Glazers Out, तो थोड़ी और significance होनी चाहिए उस protest में. That's what we are all as United fans hoping for. and it was good hosting you all, and बढ़िया discussion हुआ. It was काफी कुछ नई चीजें मेरे को सुनने को मिली, अच्छी चीजें पता चली, finance के बारे में थोड़ी बात हुई. It was good, and I hope to host you guys again and have a good time ahead. And guys, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will give you the links of all our social media platforms so that you can follow us on all, like Instagram and Twitter. We are here, there, and everywhere. And join our WhatsApp group if you want to. And yes, हम screenings भी करते हैं Delhi NCR में. So if you want to come into our live match screening, then do join us. Dhruv Pratapi has tried because he is in Australia and he cannot join and come and enjoy the match with us. So that's the problem with Dhruv. Anyways, Glazers out from the bottom of my heart, and that's why here I conclude my episode. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys. Take care.